Before I start, I want to ask you to hit that subscribe button if you love real, raw stories like this, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. I'd really like to hear what you think. It was one of those nights that started like any other, but ended with a weight in my chest that I couldn't shake. My wife had invited me to a party for one of her coworkers, small, casual, nothing I should have been nervous about. But the moment we arrived, I felt it. The shift in the air, the way people whispered and glanced, the subtle tension that wasn't there before. She greeted me with a smile, bright, perfect, radiant. But it wasn't the smile I knew. It was polished, rehearsed, hiding something. My stomach tightened as she leaned in close, laughing at a joke I couldn't hear, while another man, the host, stood nearby, soaking in her attention. I tried to brush it off. Maybe I was imagining things. And then she said it. "This night is for my ex," she whispered as if I weren't there. The words hit like ice. My hand froze on her back. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't respond. For a moment I questioned myself. Had I heard wrong? Maybe she was joking, maybe I misinterpreted. But the cold certainty in her voice left no room for doubt. For the rest of the evening I stayed silent. I followed her around, watching her tilt her head, laugh, and lean closer to him. Every joke, every touch of the arm, every glance she gave him sent needles of betrayal straight through me. I wanted to confront her, to scream, to demand an explanation, but part of me was paralyzed, trapped in shock and disbelief. In the days that followed, I noticed the subtle signs I had ignored before. Missed calls, text messages deleted before I could read them, sudden excuses for meetings and errands. She seemed distant, preoccupied, guarded. And every time I tried to talk about it, she laughed it off, called me overthinking, said I was imagining things. I started to question myself first. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I had been blind, reading too much into innocent gestures. But the unease in my chest never left. I replayed every moment, the way she had smiled at him, the tilt of her head, the softness in her laughter, and realized I could never unhear the truth hidden behind her party smile. Then came the accidental discovery. I was looking for a charger in her bag when my hand brushed against her phone. A notification blinked. A message from him. Curiosity one. I opened it. The texts were intimate, playful, unmistakably personal. Not casual. Not professional. They joked about inside things, plans, memories. Plans that didn't include me, plans that she never mentioned. I sank into the couch, staring at the ceiling, every line on the screen cutting like glass. I remembered the nights I thought we were building trust together. Late-night talks, shared dreams, whispered promises, and felt the sting of betrayal. Those memories didn't disappear. But now they were tinged with deceit. Reminders that the person I loved could compartmentalize our life while giving herself to someone else in secret. When I finally confronted her, it was quiet, almost painfully so. No yelling, no drama. We sat across from each other at the kitchen table. Morning sunlight filtering through the blinds, casting long shadows over both our faces. "I know," I said, voice low but steady. "I know about him." Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't speak. She just nodded, silent, heavy with the weight of her guilt. I didn't mean for it to go this far," she whispered finally. "It started as nothing, just talking, joking. I didn't realize." "You didn't realize?" I echoed, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. "You didn't realize that while I was standing next to you, you were planning your laughter, your smiles, your night. For someone else?" She looked down, silent. And in that silence I understood something fundamental. Betrayal isn't always about malice. Sometimes it's desire mismanaged, mistakes made, hearts led astray. But understanding it didn't erase the hurt. The following weeks were heavy. I replayed old memories, the quiet mornings, our lazy dinners, the way she used to brush her hand against mine. Each moment now had a shadow, a question mark, a sting. I realized that part of the pain was grieving not just the betrayal but the version of love I thought I had. Eventually I made a choice. I didn't beg, I didn't plead. I packed my things, took the keys, and left. The apartment smelled faintly of her perfume, a ghost of what had been. But I walked away quietly, reclaiming my life, my dignity, my self-respect. The first days were difficult. Loneliness pressed against me like a weight. Memories clung to every corner. And her laughter haunted me. But slowly clarity emerged. I realized that love isn't enough when trust is broken. Heartbreak doesn't vanish in moments. It fades with reflection, courage, and self-respect. Sometimes I remember her smile at that party, the way it hit a truth I couldn't ignore. But now that memory doesn't wound in the same way. It reminds me that survival, integrity, and quiet strength are victories in themselves. If there's one lesson I want you to take from my story, it's this: love deeply, yes, but never at the cost of your own self-worth. Betrayal can be subtle, hidden behind laughter and smiles, but your instincts, your courage, and your dignity are louder than any deception. Walk away if you must. Honor yourself, even when it's hard, and remember that heartbreak can teach you how to rebuild stronger than before. Because sometimes the quietest moments, the silent confrontation, the act of walking away, are the most powerful. They are the moments that remind you who you are, what you deserve, and that even in betrayal, there is clarity, resilience, and the path to reclaiming your life.